Hello everyone, I'm ZHIMIN from Container team of AlibabaCloud. I have been working for Alibaba Group about 10 years. Tonight I'm very glad to have an opportunity to share container service. To share container service at AlibabaCloud and what we have done about Docker and Kubernetes. Before my speech, may I ask how many of us have used the Docker or Kubernetes before? Okay, thank you. My talk will be divided into three parts. The first part is about container adoption in Alibaba. And the second part, I will share some information about container service at AlibabaCloud. And the last part, I will share some interesting container open source tools and what we can integrate to container service. Just as the other place in the world, container technology is one of the hottest technologies in China. Most cloud computing providers in China all have container service, and there are more than 10 startups related to containers. And Alibaba, we are also a big fan of containers. Just as Modi-san just said, in last month, Double Singles Day, we have break a new record about we have achieved 25.3 billions of dollars of purchase and 325,000 orders processed per second at the peak time. To achieve this goal, for us, it's a big challenge to think about how to deal with scalability, agility, and resource cost. So we have to think about to embrace container technologies. Actually, since 2011, we have introduced container technologies in Alibaba inside from LXC to Docker. Till now, we have containerized almost all core systems behind the e-commerce system to container. And I think there are two numbers deserve mention today. We have more than 10,000 container instances with real workloads, which can be provisioned in 10 minutes. And we have more than 100,000 container instances to process orders. Okay, we are going to do more investment on containers and their Dockers. Next, I will introduce the container service at AlibabaCloud. Our container service is open for business since December 2015. We have container service on public cloud and on private cloud. In AlibabaCloud, we call our private cloud solution App Server Stack, and we have some abilities about containers. We provide container class management and container security and performance, and built-in hybrid cloud, and we have container logging, monitoring, autoscaler, and so on. And we also have some service called container registry. We have more than 10,000 repos in our container registry. And we also have a service called Jenkins as service to help us to do some DevOps. In the application layer, we have focused on different aspects. For example, DevOps, microservice, enterprise apps, and intelligent innovation apps such as IoT and AR solutions. In the container orchestration and cluster management layer, we are fully compatible to the upstream of Docker Swarm and Kubernetes. We have done some plugins to integrate our storage network abilities of AlibabaCloud to these two frameworks. And we also provide a Docker engine with community version and commerce version, which is backed by .com. And we support different workloads such as web applications, mobile applications, serverless function, and so on. As we all know, the bike sharing companies are adopting containers in their production. The top 2 bike sharing companies are our customers, and they are using our container service in their production. Okay. Next, I will go through the details about our cloud provider, which we can integrate our abilities to the Kubernetes and the Docker Swarm. We can look at the left diagram of the page. It's the interface of cloud provider. Actually, in the earlier version of Kubernetes, the cloud-specific code are closely coupled to the core Kubernetes projects, but cloud providers may develop and release their code in a different pace compared to Kubernetes core projects. So it is very necessary to separate the cloud-specific code from the core Kubernetes. So it's called cloud provider mechanism. This feature is better in Kubernetes 1.8 and will be stable in Kubernetes 1.10. And the right diagram shows what we have done to the cloud provider. If you want to deploy a Kubernetes service on AliCloud, you may have to deal with some dirty works about how to manage your VMs, how to integrate your load balance to the Kubernetes, and how to deal with the high availability of the master, XTD, and so on. But when we implemented the cloud providers, the developers no need to do this work anymore. They can just use our cloud provider to be to let them develop much easier. If the customers want to customize their Kubernetes, they can use our source code directly, and they even do not have to use our managed container service. This is the GitHub repo, AlibabaCloud Controller Manager. You can see this source in the GitHub. Next, I will share the VPC backend for Fernando. As we all know, container network is complex things to deal with. When you use some container framework, whether Swarm or Kubernetes, how to solve the multi-host communications between containers is a hard problem. In the Kubernetes world, the container network interface is a standard. There are plenty of plugins to implement it, such as Vue, Calico, Contive, and so on. In our VPC scenario, we used Fernando as our backend. Fernando is a network fabric which is distributed and maintained by CoreOS, and it can allocate some IPs to the container host with a pre-configured IP address. So it uses IP forward directly instead of using data encapsulation related technologies. So in our VPC scenario, we can manipulate our vRouter and vSwitch directly and allocate some IPs to the containers, and we can let containers have their own IPs and talk to each other. Since the containers and the VMs can share the same data plane, we can use VPNs and Express Connect to connect clouds and IDCs, so we can build a much powerful hybrid container network. So this is about the VPC backend for Fernando. Next, I will share some information about our container community engagement. In the last week, which KubeCon, which was held in Austin, Texas. AlibabaCloud upgraded to Platinum member of CNCF, which is Cloud Native Computing Foundation. And as part of the membership, our chief architecture, Hong, will join CNCF's governing board. We have contributed to CNCF projects, including Kubernetes and Containerd. And CNCF also certified our container service as a certified Kubernetes conformance program last month. Okay, I just introduced the cloud provider. And we also have some storage plugins using Flex Volume, and later will be CSI. And we also integrate some logging plugins with Fluentd. And regarding to Docker, we also support Docker registry endpoint for our Open Object Storage service. And we also support Docker Machine for ECS. Till now, I have introduced some container infrastructure on AlibabaCloud. Just as High Tower said in last week's KubeCon, many people said the container orchestration or Kubernetes core is boring. We should have find some exciting things in application layers. So next I will introduce some interesting open source tools and which we can integrate to our container service to make developers' life easier. The first tooling or solution is called Application Catalog, which is backed by Helm. Helm is an open source tools developed by guys from Deers, which was acquired by Microsoft in April this year. And Helm, you can think it as a package manager for Kubernetes, just like we use apt-get, yum, or homebrew for the OS. And we support Helms and application catalog in our AlibabaCloud. You can just use our own repo in this address. You can set this address to your Kubernetes configuration. And we have support many services such as WordPress, Spark, MySQL, and so on. So you can use this for one-click installation. Next, I will show another tool called K-Compose. K-Compose is a tool to automatically transfer doc compose to Kubernetes manifests. The K-Compose is equal to Kubernetes doc compose. There is a minor difference between these tools, C prefix compose and K prefix compose. If you are do not familiar with doc compose, I will make some introduction. Doc compose is a tool used for doc swarm. It actually is use a YAML file to define multi-container applications. In this page, we can see the diagram. Maybe you cannot see clearly. It shows the YAML consists of two services. One is WordPress and the other is MySQL. And the YAML file is very straightforward and convenient for developers. You can use it to develop your web applications in one click. But this ability is only used for doc swarm. You cannot use it in Kubernetes. So the K-Compose tools can translate the doc compose to the Kubernetes clusters. So with these tools, we can handle applications in Kubernetes much better. If you are not familiar with container technologies, you may have been confused by what I was talking. However, I will introduce another tool which was initiated generated by AlibabaCloud. It is called Derek. You can see the right side of the page. Derek literally is a good friend to container. If you are a freshman to container technology, the first step you have to Dockerize your applications to a doc image. If you want to build a doc image, you have to write a doc compose and other container configuration. It is not easy for all developers. Some guys ask us frequently to how to write a good doc file. But when you use Derek, it can Dockerize your applications without need to write the doc files and other configurations. So how Derek can do this? Derek actually can inspect your workspace and detect your code language and frameworks. So it can automatically generate doc files and other container configurations for you. Till now, we have supported about 5 mainstream languages. For example, we support Java with Spring Cloud, Spring Boot, and support Python with Flask and Django. And we also have an extension point called region. You are welcome and can add your own framework to our project by adding a new region. Below is the address of our open source GitHub repo. You can directly use it. Okay. And at last, I will share our machine learning solution. We can support many solutions, including machine learning solution, break change solution, and so on. Machine learning or deep learning is very hot recently, and it's very popular to leverage containers to deploy machine learning frameworks and applications. And in AlibabaCloud, we have provide many different kinds of virtual machines and physical machines with GPU acceleration, elastic GPU service, high performance computing service, and all these nodes and these VMs can be added to our container clusters. Furthermore, we have prepared some solution templates. You can use our template to deploy TensorFlow applications just with a few clicks. In the right of the page, it demonstrates that we can support some abilities about TensorFlow. For example, we can support the DevOps, the development sandbox, and the distributed training, and the serving abilities. So using these functions, it can help you to deploy TensorFlow in our cloud. And we can build in some best practice in cloud. For example, when you deploy a TensorFlow in our cloud, we can deploy the TensorFlow with actual monitoring tools, and we can sync the checkpoint files to our open objects storages continuously. So it's very convenient to people who want to do some machine learning framework in cloud. We think container service will be the center or platform for heterogeneous resource and heterogeneous solutions. So next I will show a 1 minute demo, but it is in Chinese. This is a cluster with 2 GPU nodes. You can deploy TensorFlow applications with a specified image. We can specify the work nodes number. And we can set the storage binding. And then the TensorFlow will be installed. and you can see the host, and I use command line to direct. So the face recognize framework is deployed in less than 1 minute. Okay, then you can see some GPU metrics and GPU usage in Grafana. Okay. It's a very short demo. Okay, the last page. If you want to know more about the container service, here are the address about our GitHub repo and product link. You can follow me by Twitter. Thanks. 以上です。